What had been wanted was this always to last, the talking softly on this porch, with the snake plant and the jardiniere in the southwest corner, and the obstinate slip from Aunt Eppie's magnificent Michigan fern at the left side of the friendly door. Mama, Maud, Martha, and Helen rocked slowly in their rocking chairs and looked at the late afternoon light on the lawn and at the emphatic iron of the fence and at the poplar tree. These things might soon be theirs no longer. Those shafts and pools of light, the tree, the graceful iron, might soon be viewed possessively by different eyes. Papa was to have gone that noon during his lunch hour to the office of the homeowner's loan. If he had not succeeded in getting another extension, they would be leaving this house in which they had lived for more than 14 years. There was little hope. The homeowner's loan was hard. They sat, making their plans. "We'll be moving into a nice flat somewhere," said Mama. "Somewhere on South Park or Michigan or in Washington Park Court." Those flats or apartments, as the girls and Mama knew well, were burdens on wages twice the size of Papa's. This was not mentioned now. "They're much prettier than this old house," said Helen. "I have friends I'd just as soon not bring here, and I have other friends that wouldn't come down this far for anything unless they were in a taxi." Yesterday Maud Martha would have attacked her. Tomorrow she might. Today she said nothing. She merely gazed at a little hopping robin in the tree, her tree, and tried to keep the fronts of her eyes dry. "Well, I do know," said Mama, turning her hands over and over, "that I've been getting tireder and tireder of doing that firing. From October to April there's firing to be done." "But lately we've been helping, Harry and I," said Maud Martha, "and sometimes in March and April and in October and even in November we could build a little fire in the fireplace. Sometimes the weather was just right for that." She knew from the way they looked at her that this had been a mistake. They did not want to cry. But she felt that the little line of white, sometimes ridged with smoked purple, and all that cream-shot saffron would never drift across any western sky except that in back of this house. The rain would drum with as sweet a dullness nowhere but here. The birds on South Park were mechanical birds, no better than the poor cock canaries in those rich women's sun parlors. "It's just going to kill Papa," burst out Maud Martha. "He loves this house. He lives for this house." "He lives for us," said Helen. "It's us he loves. He wouldn't want the house except for us." "And he'll have us," added Mama, "wherever." "You know," Helen said, "if you want to know the truth, this is a relief. If this hadn't come up, we would have gone on, just dragged on, hanging out here forever." "It might," allowed Mama, "be an act of God. God may just have reached down and picked up the reins." "Yes," Maud Martha cracked in, "that's what you always say, that God knows best." Her mother looked at her quickly, decided the statement was not suspect, looked away. Helen saw Papa's coming. "There's Papa," said Helen. They could not tell a thing from the way Papa was walking. It was that same dear little staccato walk, one shoulder down, then the other, then repeat and repeat. They watched his progress. He passed the Kennedys, he passed the vacant lot, he passed Mrs. Blakemore's. They wanted to hurl themselves over the fence into the street and shake the truth out of his collar. He opened his gate, the gate, and still his stride and face told them nothing. "Hello," he said. Mama got up and followed him through the front door. The girls knew better than to go in too. Presently, Mama's head emerged. Her eyes were lamps turned on. "It's all right," she exclaimed. "He got it. It's all over. Everything is all right." The door slammed shut. Mama's footsteps hurried away. "I think," said Helen, rocking rapidly, "I think I'll give a party. I haven't given a party since I was 11. I'd like some of my friends to just casually see that we're homeowners." If you'll turn the page, we'll see the poem Gold. The word cigarro in line 8 refers to a huge cactus found in the southwestern United States and northern Mexico. The name of the poem is Gold by Pat Mora. When sun paints the desert with its gold, I climb the hills. Wind runs around boulders, ruffles my hair. I sit on my favorite rock, lizards for company. A rabbit, ears stiff in the shade of a saguaro. In the wind we're all eye to eye. Sparrow on saguaro watches rabbit watch us in the gold of sun setting. Hawk sails on, waves of light, sees sparrow, rabbit, lizards, me, our eyes shining, watching red and purple sand. Rivers stream down the hill. I stretch my arms wide as the sky, like hawk extends her wings, in all the gold light of this home. Mongoose on the Loose, page 340. In 1872, a Jamaican sugar planter imported 9 furry little mongooses from India to eat the rats that were devouring his crops. They did such a good job, the planter started breeding his exotic animals and selling them to his eager farmers on neighboring islands. With no natural predators like wolves, coyotes, or poisonous snakes, the mongoose population exploded, and within a few years they were killing not just rats, but pigs, lambs, chickens, puppies, and kittens. Dr. G. Roy Horst, a U.S. expert on mongooses, says that today mongooses live on 17 Caribbean islands as well as Hawaii and Fiji, where they have attacked small animals, threatened endangered species, and have even spread minor rabies epidemics. In Puerto Rico, there are from 800,000 to 1 million of them. That is about 1 mongoose for every 4 humans. In St. Croix, there are 100,000 mongooses, about twice as many as the human population. It's impossible to eliminate the mongoose population, short of nuclear war, says Horst. You can't poison them because cats, dogs, and chickens get poisoned too. I'm not a prophet crying in the wilderness, but the potential for real trouble is there, says Horst. According to Horst, great efforts have been made to rid the islands of mongooses, which have killed off a number of species, including the Amevia lizard on St. Croix, presumed extinct for several decades. On Hawaii, the combination of mongooses and sports hunting has reduced the Hawaiian goose, or nene, to less than 24 individuals. Horst says his research will provide local and federal health officials with extremely valuable information if they ever decide to launch a campaign against rabies in Puerto Rico or the U.S. Virgin Islands. The Dinner Party by Mona Gardner, page 118. The country is India. A colonial official and his wife are giving a large dinner party. They are seated with their guests, Army officers and government attachés and their wives, and a visiting American naturalist, in their spacious dining room, which has a bare marble floor, open rafters, and wide glass doors opening onto a veranda. A spirited discussion springs up between a young girl who insists that women have outgrown the jumping on a chair at the sight of a mouse era, and a colonel who says they haven't. A woman's unfailing reaction in any crisis, the colonel says, is to scream. While a man may feel like it, he has that ounce more of nerve control than a woman has. That last ounce is what counts. The American does not join in the argument, but watches the other guests. As he looks, he sees a strange expression come over the face of the hostess. She is staring straight ahead, her muscles contracting slightly. With a slight gesture, she summons the Indian boy standing behind her chair and whispers to him. The boy's eyes widen, and he quickly leaves the room. Of the guests, none except the American notices this, nor sees the boy place a bowl of milk on the veranda just outside the open doors. The American comes to with a start. In India, milk in a bowl means only one thing: bait for a snake. He realizes there must be a cobra in the room. He looks up at the rafters, the likeliest place, but they are bare. 3 corners of the room are empty, and in the 4th, the servants are waiting to serve the next course. There is only one place left, under the table. His first impulse is to jump back and warn the others, but he knows the commotion would frighten the cobra into striking. He speaks quickly, the tone of his voice so arresting that it sobers everyone. I want to know just what control everyone at this table has. I will count to 300. That's 5 minutes, and not one of you is to move a muscle. Those who move will forfeit 50 rupees. Ready? The 20 people sit like stone images while he counts. He is saying 280 when, out of the corner of his eye, he sees the cobra emerge and make for the bowl of milk. Screams ring out as he jumps to slam the veranda door safely shut. "You were right, Colonel," the host exclaims. "A man has just shown us an example of perfect control." "Just a minute," the American says, turning to his hostess. "Mrs. Wynns, how did you know that cobra was in the room?" A faint smile lights up the woman's face as she replies, "Because it was crawling across my foot."